Assalamu alaikum. I learned the following secrets of IELTS Writing Task 2 directly from an IELTS examiner and decided to share them with you so that you can finally get that band 7 or even 8 in writing. Now, let's start with the most important secret. Most IELTS essay questions, I'd say 95% of questions are two-part questions. That means 4 paragraphs. Introduction, 1 part, other part, conclusion. 2 parts, 4 paragraphs. You have to keep those numbers clear in your head. A 2-part question means 4 paragraphs, causes and solutions, advantages and disadvantages. Occasionally you might have a 1-part question, but it's very rare. This is very important. If you get a question that says, "Do you agree or disagree?" that's a 1-parter. You must only write about why you agree or why you disagree, and not both. However, the most common question is, to what extent do you agree or disagree? This means you must discuss both why you agree and why you disagree. You must. So keep that in mind. Write it down, memorize it. Do you agree or disagree is a 1-part question, which could be 3 paragraphs. But to what extent do you agree or disagree is a 2-part question, which means it has to be 4 paragraphs. Let's talk about essay planning framework. Here are the questions that you need to answer. 1. How many parts are there in the question that you must answer? Circle the keywords. 2. Decide on your position. What do you believe about the topic? 3. Decide on your main ideas and paragraphs. 4. Write down your main ideas and then rank them by importance before you start writing your essay. Here is a structure for you. You probably will want 2 main ideas on one side of your argument and 2 on the other side. You might need 3. It depends on how much you can explain things, but if you can explain thoroughly, completely, you probably only need 2 examples on one side and 2 examples on the other side. Here are some questions that you need to ask yourself. Introduction. Is the topic and your position clear? Did you paraphrase, not copy the question? Did you state what main ideas you'll discuss? Main body. Does each paragraph have main idea sentence? First, I'm going to discuss the causes of air pollution. You see, I didn't give a cause. I just stated that this is what I'm going to talk about in this paragraph. That's a main idea sentence. Does each paragraph discuss one single topic? Don't mix your topics up. Keep them separate. Does each paragraph explain, give examples about the main idea? Did you answer all parts of the question? Did you organize your essay in clear paragraphs? Did you use cohesive devices to organize your ideas? The first example of a cause of air pollution is, another reason that I disagree with this is, that sequence is very important. Conclusion. Did you summarize the main points of your essay? You can use phrases such as you can see, I feel strongly that. So summarize it, make it very clear. And did you state your position clearly? You will also have to proofread your essay. You will have to revise and edit and correct any mistakes in grammar, punctuation, and spelling. You will also have to count the number of lines. Let me show you the easiest way to find out how many words you have written without counting. There is a link in the description below to the IELTS Writing Answer Sheet Task 2. Download it and count 32 lines, including 2 blank lines between paragraphs, starting from the first page. And you will see that if you have 2 or 3 lines left from the bottom on the second page of the answer sheet, it means 250 or more words, as long as you can write a minimum of 8 words per line. So after finishing your essay at the exam, simply count the number of lines from the bottom of the second page, not from the top of the first page. And if it's fewer than 5 or 4, you have 250 plus words. That's it. Now let's talk about sentence types: simple, compound, and complex. Here are some simple sentences. Joe waited for the train. The train was late. Mary and Sam took the bus. I waited for Mary and Sam at the station. Combine these sentences to get compound sentences. Joe waited for the train, but the train was late. Mary and Sam took the bus, and I waited for them at the station. Complex sentences. Take your simple and compound sentences and add additional information to describe or explain what you are writing or speaking about so the meaning and importance is clearer. In other words, explain, explain, explain. So here's a list of words that you can use to explain. The most common ones are because, if, since, when, and who. Those are the most common ones, but because is probably number one, especially in speaking. Now, it's okay in speaking if you use because repeatedly, and the reason is that the examiner will ask you questions and say why or why not, and the answer is because. You could answer differently, you could answer with since or if, but the most common answer is because. So it's okay in speaking to repeat because more than once, but in writing, you don't want to do that. You give 4 examples, you want to explain them with 4 different complex structures. You give 6 examples, you want to explain them with 6 different complex structures. So let's look at some examples. To explain and support our examples, we need to use complex structures. Television is fun to watch and relaxing. TV is a favorite activity for many people. Now, let's combine them with which, because, and since. Television is fun to watch and relaxing, which makes watching TV a favorite activity for many people. Because television is both fun to watch and relaxing, it is a favorite activity for many people. Since television helps us relax, it has become a favorite activity for many people. Let's look at a few more examples. So you need to use complex structures in writing and even in your speaking if you want to get a band 7 or higher. You have to use them. Look at the band descriptors. You have to use them and you have to have a variety of them to get a band 7. If you don't have a variety of them or you don't use them at all, you'll never get a band 7. This is extremely important that you practice them and use them in your writing and in your speaking on the IELTS test. Let's talk about using different sentence types. Use simple, compound, complex sentences. Use past, present, and future tenses. Make sure you use them all to show grammatical range. Your grammatical accuracy comes from practice. Now, let's look at the introduction. A good model is 3-part introduction, not 3-sentence introduction. Typically, if you are using 3-part introduction, the first 2 parts can be combined in one longer sentence, but you have to have a neutral background statement. Then you have to rewrite the question and say, this essay will. So 1, neutral background. 2, rewrite the question. 3, this essay will. Now, there are 5 most typical question types. Agree or disagree, discuss both views, problem and solution, double question, and advantages and disadvantages. All of these are clearly 4-paragraph essays. Introduction, why you agree, why you disagree, conclusion. Introduction, one view, the other view, conclusion. Introduction, problem, solution, conclusion. Introduction, one question, the other question, conclusion. Introduction, advantages, disadvantages, conclusion. Please keep that in mind. Remember that almost every essay, academic and general training, will have 2 parts and 4 paragraphs. For example, every year more and more students choose to study online rather than attend traditional classes at a school or university. What do you think are the causes of this? What solutions can you suggest? So studying online is becoming increasingly popular. Each year, more students opt to study online as opposed to attending classes on campus. Combine those 2. This essay will discuss the reasons why this is happening and put forward several solutions that may stem from this trend. Put it into a paragraph and indent the first line. We'll talk more about indenting in a little bit, but especially in a paper-based test, it is extremely important that you indent each paragraph. You'll see clearly why that's important in just a few minutes, but please don't argue with me. Indent the first line of each paragraph, okay? Now, another one. To what extent do you agree or disagree? Some people believe that studying on campus is the most effective way to learn, while others believe that studying online is more effective. To what extent do you agree or disagree with this statement? Your neutral background statement can be a question. Why is it that the effectiveness of studying online instead of on campus is debated? Some people believe that it is much more effective than traditional learning, while others do not. This essay will discuss both sides of the argument in detail, providing specific examples of the effectiveness of both. Now, let's put it all together and write a whole essay. Now, we're going to write both about the positive and the negative aspects of television. One will be very simple language and one will be complex language. With simple language, you're going to need to explain. You're going to need to give more examples because your language is simple. In the other, where you are able to explain more and give more information, you don't need as many examples. Think about it. The more you speak, the fewer questions you'll be asked. The more you write, the fewer examples you need to give. So here is a sample question. Some people feel the positive aspects of television are more important than the negative aspects. To what extent do you agree or disagree with this statement? Neutral background. Television has been an important part of people's lives for a long time. Paraphrase. Most people argue that there are good and bad things about television. Where we are going, specific examples will be provided in this essay, which will discuss each side of this issue, both positive and negative. Put it all together, indent it, and then we have our introduction. Some of the language is pretty simple, good and bad things. That's okay. We're telling our story first. We're writing it down. We can always go back later and make it better, make it stronger and edit it, but we have to get the words on paper first. Now, if you try to write the strongest language possible the first time you go through the paper, you might run out of time. But if you tell your story quickly, you will have time to go back and make it stronger. Now, let's look at our topic sentence. First, I'd like to discuss some of the positive aspects of television. Simple language will need more examples because fewer words are used. The first good thing is that TV is fun. Another good example is that TV helps me learn. The good thing about television is to spend free time. Here we have 3 examples with sequencing words. First, another, next. Now we have to use complex structures. This is good because we laugh. It is good to learn, so TV helps. When I'm busy, I can take a break. When we used complex structures, variety of them, didn't repeat them. And now we want to explain more, maybe our opinion or just more examples. I like to laugh. I think this is important. This helps me finish my day. Put it all in a paragraph and indent the first line. We have 74 words. Now, even with 3 examples, this is pretty short because remember, we have to get up to about 250 words. So it's kind of short. So could we explain better by giving longer explanations? The first example of a good thing about television is entertainment. Another good thing about television is that we can learn new things. Sequence, first, another, examples, entertainment, learn new things. Now we need our complex structure. Since we can watch shows on television that make us laugh, it helps make our days more fun. If we watch shows about things we did not know before, we can learn a lot of new information. See how we're explaining more? Explain, explain, explain. In my opinion, this is the most important thing about television and explains why a lot of people like to watch it very often. And I think that learning new things is always a good thing to do. And now we can even add more explanation about our opinion. In my opinion, and I think. Now put them together. It's only 2 examples, that's 111 words. Now, we think, oh, okay, I'm really getting into this. I could put another example. The problem is, if you put a third example, that's 175 words. It's not bad, but it's taken time to do that. Remember, you still have to write about the negative things and you still have to write the conclusion. So if you keep writing and writing and writing, you might run out of time and not have enough time to write about the negative aspects of television and your conclusion. So if you can explain really well, 2 examples is more than enough. So stick with 2 examples and then move on to negative, bad things about television. There are also bad things about television. One of the most important negative issues about television is it can make people crazy. When people sit and watch television all the time, they get no exercise, which is a terrible thing to happen. Also, television can hurt our health in other ways. There are many examples of people with bad hearing and eyesight because of too much TV. In my opinion, people should turn off their television and do something else. 81 words. And then our sequencing words, one of, also, and our examples of lazy and hurt our health, and our complex structures, when, because, and our opinions, terrible thing, and in my opinion. So sequence your examples of complex structures and opinions, the same as we did with positive. And then we're going to put our conclusion. As you can see, there are clearly both positive and negative things about television, but I feel strongly that the positive aspects far outweigh the negative. So we have our full essay now. Introduction, positive, negative, conclusion. You see where the division of paragraphs are. I have indented and then I've put an empty line between each paragraph. It's very clear. That's great. Examiners want to see your paragraphs as separate because if they don't, it might hurt your score. So please indent them and put that extra line. Now, because we told our story quickly, we can go back and make it stronger. If you look at the conclusion, I added a significant part there. I am confident in stating that TV was popular in the past. It is popular now, and I am positive it will continue to be popular well into the future. I used the past, present, and future just by adding a sentence about our topic, and you could do the same about air pollution, exercise, recycling. It wasn't popular in the past, now it is, it will be more popular. Anything you could do to add that range of grammar will help you score. Once again, the structure. Now, remember, you must determine how many parts of the question you need to mention before you begin writing. And that's it. If you have any questions or suggestions about IELTS, comment on the bottom and I'll do my best to answer them. And share this video with your friends and they will thank you for sharing because they might be struggling with writing too, and sharing is caring. But if you want to put a smile on my face, hit that like button and subscribe. Thanks for watching. Peace.